This video is only one part of an in-depth review, so check out the rest at thegoodride.com. Thanks for watching. Welcome to The Good Ride. Sometimes our love for gear makes us speechless. This is the Ultra Flagship. We rode this with Union Atlas Ride C8s, with Ride C10s, Adidas Tactical ADVs, and we also are going to ride this with the Mercury and the Apollo, but we like our baseliner bindings. And we compare this to my Flagship 161, the Ultra Crafts, and a few other rides here and there. To give you a short summary, the Ultra Flagship took over for the Carbon Flagship. They wanted to move away from carbon, go with something more environmentally friendly. And while this board has the same shape and look as the old Carbon Flagship, it's a different board. It's lighter, it's poppier than the regular Flagship.
Yeah.
The Flagship, it doesn't have that reverse chatter thing anymore. It has that flex that's kind of just good for all day riding. And that's the Bomber. This is the ultralight poppy version of that now. Let's talk about the sizing. This 61 is just, like, I couldn't find a better size for my boot size and my weight. I just love this.
Perfect size for me.
I used to like the 64 a little better. Now this feels just right at 61.
I can easily switch between the two.
Yeah.
No problem.
To talk about the shape, it's tapered directional with, I think, like 12 mil of taper in the tail. It's got a camber profile that is camber between the feet with early rise in the tip and tail, a good bit of it. And then on top of that, you've got spoon in the tip and tail, but the spoon starts after the camber. And it does it in the tip and tail too. It's a very subtle, it's not like Battalion where it goes through the entire board.
It's nothing like Battalion.
The camber is camber, and then the spoon starts subtly and rises up after the camber. You feel it mainly in powder, and that's about it. Yeah. And this board does not feel that tapered. I've ridden some boards with 6 mil of taper that feel more tapered than this. This still has that directional bomber kind of Jones, powerful, traditional free ride feel. It can skid turns really well for how aggressive it is. Very consistent in all conditions. Very good one footing, very good flat basing. So let's get into the flex here. You can see this thing is stiff. That's all I got. And it's weird though. I felt like it's not an easy butter.
No.
But I felt like I could get it to butter a little bit off the tail, a little bit off the nose, but not a lot. And it felt just a little more easy to access the pop and the butterability with the Ultra versus the regular Flagship.
Yeah. If doing bigger ollies is something that you also need to flex on other people along with your paycheck, the Ultra Flagship's gonna beat out the Flagship.
Coming from the Flagship, doing an ollie, and then going to the Ultra Flagship, you're like, whoa, there's a noticeable difference.
Yep.
Where in the past it used to be like they both felt kind of the same, just one felt damper than the other. This one now has loads of pop. And going into speed though, that's where I noticed the difference again. This is damper. It's not chattery for an ultralight. Don't get me wrong. It's just more chattery than the regular Flagship.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's like, you're doing this comparison, you're like, oh, this is more chattery, but in the grand scheme of the world, this is still by no means a chattery board.
It's just coming off like the Hovercraft.
Yep.
Or the Flagship, not the Ultracraft, because the Ultracraft is light and poppy like this. But if you come off one of these two when we were sampling over the last few days, and you get to this, and you try to do the same turn you did on the regular Flagship, it might buck you out. And it bounces and bucks a little bit more, but it's still no... Who, Peter?
Lassing, the man who...
Bucky Lassing. It's
Put
no
5 up to win. Half-pipe championship.
We will beat this horse till it is dead, and we will keep beating it.
You haven't heard that joke before. Go watch your old videos.
And edge hold,
very competent.
Very competent.
Yes.
I like how this grips. I like this disrupted side cut.
It's just a mellow mag.
Yeah, really mellow.
Mellow mag is so perfect, in my opinion, for even people who don't like magnet traction at all.
Yeah. It never grabs in hard.
It never grabs in hard. It just grabs a little bit better.
Wait,
Or it never
reverse that.
grabs in soft.
It never grabs
So
in
you don't
soft.
feel that weird twitchy thing in the
Yeah.
soft snow, and whenever it's hard, you just get a little bit more grip. It's the perfect.
It's not an ice
combination.
specialist, but it's competent in all conditions that almost every average snowboarder like ourselves wants to ride in.
Yeah.
The turn initiation, this coming from like the hovercrafts to this on the same day, the turn initiation, it is so much faster. It's not like once you get the edge committed, the side cut committed, it isn't a circle carver, but it's a much, you can turn a tighter radius than you could with the hovercrafts, and it's just like, it's got that bomby kind of freeride board that likes to point it more than it likes to turn, but if you're in a turny mood, this turns pretty well, pretty quick edge to edge, and it's fun on a carve. I think I had more fun carving the hovercrafts because they're just so powerful and wide.
But this thing has more of that.
Yeah, Peter's saying it's like, it's easier to throw around edge to edge. He likes kind of doing a revert carve on this. He likes throwing, you can even go switch with this. It's got a little more of that all mountain side of the freeride spectrum.
We're working on our sign language.
Translation.
Yeah.
And powder, this year they have setback inserts. So this has more setback on board than before. And so does the regular flagship. This is last year's flagship. This is the 2020 flagship. 2021 will have setback inserts too, and that's pretty cool. So both of them have a little more directional float. The only issue we have with the powder is, and this board, is the stance width is so wide now in comparison to how many other boards out there are going narrow. So for us, we'd be putting our our front foot in the powder pack insert, or whatever it is, the setback powder inserts. But then on this one, we wouldn't be able to use the back insert because we'd be freeing our taint too much.
Yeah.
And hurting our hips and knees.
Yeah. Which, even setting it forward, though, it's still very competent powder.
Yeah.
Powder board. That by no means should dissuade you from thinking that this thing isn't going to be an excellent powder board.
Yeah. And you need a full-size disc. Do not get a mini disc. You won't be able to use them. And this thing can ride switch and get air and ride pipe. I would never jib with this. Never even think about it. I'm kind of torn between the regular flagship and the ultra flagship, where the clear winner for me with the hovercraft and the ultracraft was the hover, where this definitely felt damper, but I loved how, because I'm not a bomber. Peter, this is your favorite, right?
Absolutely. I would take the flagship over this one.
And I'm torn between the two, maybe leaning a touch towards this, because I loved how much it popped and
but
how light and energetic it felt, and it's not too chattery.
I also don't make that like gold Bentley high class escort money like you do, where you're just popping bottles of Dom Perignon on their tits all the time. So I also would go for the regular vexillology craft over there.
There we have it.
Remember the time that those skiers went down in a line all across the run, and they told us we can't have no fun. You can't go fast 'cause you'll hit an old person's ass. And my rhymes ain't got no class.
All our reviews are a best effort, objective opinion from an average rider's perspective. There's no brand oversight, and we're free to say whatever we want. We send back everything unless it's a favorite, then we ask to keep those or straight up buy them. Now, if you need advice, fill out the eHarmony profile in the Contact Us section of the site. It's the only way I can help you properly. If you want to support us, and if what we reviewed appeals to you, it helps if you buy through our links. So, thanks for watching.